Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Commissioner's Report. I'm your host, Tricia Pichette. The Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act, is a relief package meant to address the economic fallout due to the COVID-19 pandemic in the United States. Polk County responded with several programs for Polk workers, families, and small businesses impacted by the crisis. Stay with us to learn more. Welcome back. Joining us today are Commissioner Rick Wilson and Ms. Tamara West, manager of the Polk County Housing and Neighborhood Development Division. Thank you both for joining us.
It's good to be here.
Thank you.
So let's talk about Polk Cares. What are some of the things that we did?
It was pretty amazing. I'm going to tell you. I don't know exactly when the time was when Bill Beasley came to me and said, we just received $126 million from the feds.
Wow.
For COVID relief, and really the only stipulations on it was it had to be COVID related to help our community. There was like I'm not sure about the number. I'm gonna think there was 12 or 14 counties, the biggest counties in the state of Florida that was above 500,000 population received the money first. So the board, we sat down and talked about it, and of course we wanted to get it to the people. I mean, the people. That's when it was really, a lot of people had lost their jobs. A lot of people were, losing hours, businesses shut down. And so we said, well, we need to get it to our people, as much as we can. Sounds real simple, but it's not. It took a lot of planning and a lot of hard work. We had a great team put together, but we decided, early on, trying to look at who was available and who wasn't available. At that time and point, the PPP money had come down for the businesses. They had everybody that basically had a tax return had got money from the government trying to help. The federal government was trying to help, but people were hurting. So we started, looking at some of the deals, how to make it go easy, and of course, there's a lot of people out there that don't have good intent. We want to help the people that really needed it. So we started putting some things together, and it started flowing in. My biggest concern was that, there's a lot of people out there need money, and it was going to be coming through here and crashing the system, and trying to get set up where it would flow easily. Mm-hmm. And all in all, it did. And what we had to do, we changed it daily. We would see different things, that would happen, and we would, try to change it and make it easier for people. But, at this point in time, we give away just about $70 million to individuals in this county and businesses. The individuals could, it was basically they were out of work, showing, any signs of, there were people couldn't make their house payments. They couldn't pay their leases. They were out of work, and we had a lot of great people that that would look at that, teams that would look at that. Our businesses, they were shut down. And some had, originally we had, well, if you had received PPP money from the feds, then you weren't eligible for this stuff. That was like the first 2 or 3 days. We decided to change that because money doesn't last forever when you're shut down for a long time.
True.
And it's worked well. We went through it, and we helped a lot of people, in this county.
Now it kind of went in waves. Mm-hmm. The first wave was just who's been impacted by it. Show us how you've been impacted by it, and money went out to people like that. Then the second wave was the businesses.
Mm-hmm. They started up together.
Yeah.
I mean, it was together. But the first wave of it was who was impacted, and the individuals, and then the businesses. Originally, I can't remember it. Maybe Tamara can remind me. But mm-hmm. Earlier on, it was you could be self-employed or have up to 10 people.
Correct.
10 people that work for you on the business side.
Yeah.
I think the federal government, theirs was that you had to have a business with a certain amount of people in it. Self-employed people, couldn't really get it. I didn't think that was right because we have a lot of agriculture here. There's a lot of people that own their own businesses and they work themselves. They're hurting just like everybody else is. So it was self-employed. up to 10 people. And then we even made that bigger with more employees for more businesses.
Yeah,
I'll let Tamara do it.
I think it went from 25 up to 50 because every time they started seeing where there were discrepancies. So those reports would come from Todd Bonds and Marsha Andreessen and say, hey, you know what, a lot of people are complaining about this, so we would take it back to Mr. Beasley and he would take it to the commissioners and they would say, you know what, let's lift that. We want to help the people.
That's interesting. I mean, that's a true lesson in people who are listening.
Oh, it is, And I was talking to, people in the county, and I would tell them just, well, I don't know if I qualify or I got money. People just don't know. And we were trying to get this information out to them. And, a lot of people, they're not real tech savvy, not downing them, but, the older people, agricultural end of this county, they don't sit on computers. They sit out in the field working all day. And they didn't go after it. So I would go out and say, look, you need to look at this, you need to call this number and sit down and talk. And it worked. And, I kept hearing over and over the people that, our call center, we had like 40 people at the call center.
Right.
And people could call in and just how great and how good they were. That would help them. And then, of course, I had people that would say, it took me quite a while, but I had to reapply 4 or 5 times. But you get to talking to them, it was stuff that they didn't supply or didn't, give it to them correctly.
Yeah.
And we were looking at it, and we were taking some of that stuff off the board, because we were just worried about people that really needed it instead of, you hear these stories and they're out there, it's real, and I heard it here, there's scammers, they're in there trying to get that money. And,
there are always a few of those.
There's always, and, we will be audited from the federal government on this. So we have to, Todd Bond, and Dee Dee, they want to make sure that we done it right. So, but we did, and I'm very pleased with it.
Now, Tamara, there was also a segment of Polk Cares that was specifically geared towards mortgage and rent assistance. What was that program?
So actually, the first program that was talked about came directly to the local governments. The second batch of money came to the states, and the states decided to pass it through to the local governments. So each local government got their piece of the pie. All right. So for for Polk County, we got $1.9 million. That was directed for mortgage and rent assistance to help these clients. So from this point on, if they were delinquent, we could service them up until December if they were delinquent. So we're at this process, we're taking applications for them currently.
Now, we spoke a little bit about fraud. What were some of the eligibility requirements? What were some of the things we were doing or asking for to prevent fraud?
Okay, for this one, we actually were contacting the employers if they did not have the unemployment letter. We were contacting the mortgage holder or the landlords to verify that, yes, these clients are delinquent. So it's a little bit more rigorous because the state had additional rules outside of what the original CARES had provided to us.
So the money didn't go directly to the person who was applying?
Correct. It went directly to the landlords or the mortgage holder.
Okay.
And one of the biggest ones that we have requirements was you had to live in Polk County. And we had people out of Polk County applying for it.
Osceola County, someone from Iowa. I mean, people were applying, people from Canada.
There is a Polk County in Iowa, though. That's a little cheeky.
Yeah.
So they did put an application, and those got denied.
Yeah, I mean, there's always somebody looking at it. But it's been a great program. We've helped a lot of people. And they needed help, and we've got some deals coming up here that we're looking at what we're going to do because we do have money that we might still want to get out, and so it's all about helping the people, helping the businesses here. I know some business owners that it helped them tremendously because they're hurting, and.
Now, are you looking at some of what has happened thus far to see which programs were perhaps more helpful, or are we looking?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm trying to think. I know we probably could just re-up this and go again, But I'm trying to think out of the box. There's a lot of people out there that didn't get any of this help. I'm not saying because they didn't know about it. I look at the elderly. There's a lot of people that the elderly, not in assisted living, but just live on a fixed income, but the problem is they don't work and they don't say they get their Social Security and they don't work. Things are bad. They were affected by this, but you got to look at the criteria of what makes it work. I mean, they have they didn't lose their job, but there's a lot of these people are hurting. But it's got to be COVID related, and so we just got to look at different things and think out of the box and see how we can help people. And I was talking to some people the other day, just like the mortgages and the leases and stuff that you're assisting. Well, there's a lot of people that didn't get that. They didn't sign up for this, and so leases and rent didn't get paid. Well, guess what? These people that own these houses and these the complexes, apartment complexes, well, they didn't get paid, especially with the freeze going on. They're hurting.
Correct.
Might be something, we're kicking that around, stuff like that.
Okay.
If, it's just, everybody's hurting. You just got to keep peeling the onion back to find out where it's at.
Yeah.
You look at the people first, but all these people behind it. I know a gentleman owns probably 400 or 500 rental houses. And, and he says he's got good people that just been doing everything they can to pay, but he's hurting, because he's a good man, and he just didn't go, kick them out or whatever, because he couldn't. And, but, look at something like that, to help them, help any businesses that's affected.
Now, Tamara, you had money that was divvied out by the state.
Correct.
Do you have a feeling, because there was only a limited amount of time that people could have applied to that.
Right.
Do you have the feeling that perhaps more money like that is coming?
Well, the state has advised if we spend the money timely, there is a strong possibility that Polk County would get additional funding. We're estimating that to be at least another $1 million. Before Polk Cares started, there was a CDBG rental program that we had, but we had to put it on hold to help with Polk Cares. So there's about $1.3 million there. So if there are clients in our portal and we run technically out of money, we're going to figure out ways to get them paid if they're eligible. And there's a possibility we may ask for some of this leftover money from the other program, if possible. In regards to what Commissioner has stated, those tenants that live with the property manager, they could apply for assistance so that they could pay him, because the money would go directly to the property manager if they're renting and they've been impacted by COVID.
Yeah, it's all kind of things to look at here. I mean, it's, I don't make it, this is a very bad deal that we've gone through, and we learn every day. But I never thought it would be that hard to get rid of $126 million. I mean, it's not, don't get me wrong, it's great, but to do it right and make sure you don't have frauds, and people trying to get it that deserve it are not in the position that has to have it, but, and it's just, you gotta, the great thing about it, we've got a great team. It's amazing. I want to kick around here a little bit. There's some other counties that they ain't done very well. They got more money than we did, or the same amount of money, and they hadn't got nowhere near this accomplished. And matter of fact, now they're calling us saying, well, how did you do this? How did you go about doing that? And you got to look at it. You got to look at it at getting it to the people. That was my main deal: get it to the people as quick as we can, because they're hurting now. And this was what was this? A month and a half ago? 2 months ago when we got this started.
We launched on May 19th,
yeah.
And we got the notification probably towards the end of April that we had the 126.
Mm-hmm. And so, we've got some left. We put, when we originally got this money, we didn't know how, like other municipalities and school board, different things in our county, how they were going to get funded if they did. So we held money back for those in case they needed help. And a lot of them got money on their own. And so that's how we put money aside for different things, but it was COVID related, knowing that if we didn't use it, we could put it back to the people.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done. So we've got X amount of dollars still sitting there, and we need to, we're talking about it now, how we're going to move that money and get it to the people and help this county the most that we can.
Part of what really surprised me is Polk County sort of took this as an all hands on deck effort. I mean, you were talking about the call center. These weren't people who were sitting in a call center waiting for something to do. These were employees from all departments.
Correct.
Just kind of.
Well, a lot of our people were sent home, shut down. This was a perfect situation. We were trying to, it was a perfect storm in a way. But what's happened now, things are starting to fire back up, and you know, people are getting, you know, we're getting back to some norm. And so we don't have all those people sitting around anymore, but we'll get it done.
Sure.
With a lot of great people here.
And it was also incredible how the infrastructure came so quickly. I mean, IT produced in a very short period of time a very robust website. I mean, it was amazing.
And it was a lot of great information there too. And they did. That's what I'm saying. I can't say enough about everybody here. I mean, they got it done. And because we were on them, you know, and I was hollering, we got to get it done.
They were literally working around the clock.
Oh yeah. And
communications was a big part, Health and Human Services. I mean, everybody pitched in. So outside of the call center, there were dedicated executives and administrators, at least 20 people that were meeting daily to talk about how to brainstorm, how to make this work, how to make it successful. So they did a very good job.
The first day that it opened, I went out to the EOC. That's where we had our call center, you know, and just, you know, see if it was, you know, still standing. You know, I didn't know what was going to happen. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little shocked. I mean, everybody was working hard, but it was the first day. And I just had in my mind that the call center, everything was going to just lock up because so many people, you know, and it wasn't. I mean, we didn't move that much money. And then I said, we were doing a great job. Our websites were out there. I said, we got to get this word out. And then we started doing that. We started looking at different ways to get, you know, let people know and get it out to them. And it wasn't very long. It had really picked up. But the first couple of days, I mean, it wasn't a big deal. And I was a little disappointed. And but word of mouth, talking to people, a great website that we had. I think y'all did some stuff, you know, PGTV. It's just, it worked. And now we're looking at doing some more.
And it's gratifying to hear that other counties are sort of looking at the progress that was made here and saying, okay, help us out here. How did you do this? How did you do that?
Well, you know, I think, you know, I said I wasn't going to say the name of the counties, but there was one county right to the west of us. You know, I heard their program on TV before we had even scratched the surface. I might have just heard that day that we had received some money, and they were fixing this. It was like on the weekend, and they were going to start up on that Monday. You know, call center was open and everything. I said, man, this is going to be good. It crashed, and that's where I got my fear. I mean, and then because everybody knew about it, but they couldn't get it, and that was my biggest fear, as I said. But ours, we just took our time, not because of me, because I was pushing them. You know, they took their time, set it up right. And when we opened for business, it worked. And then we just kept trying to grow what we learned every day. Just like she said, the meetings were going, everybody was brainstorming just to make it better, make it smoother, make it easier for the people out there. And we did that. Every time we'd find a crossroad or something that was a roadblock, which made good sense of what we were trying to do, but it was hard. You know, I mean, people were hurting, and, you know, some of this stuff that we were looking for, you know, I didn't think maybe we needed it that bad, you know, and it just kept getting better and better.
So Tamara, what would you suggest to people who are you know, still either unemployed or tenuously employed or underemployed, and they're looking for assistance?
Okay.
What would you suggest to them?
Well, for the clients that have not already applied, there are still United Way partners that have funding. They can call 211 and get assistance. It's recommended that they talk to their mortgage holder or their landlord. So for mortgage holders, ask for forbearance. Give yourself 3 to 6 months, and then in that time frame, you may be able to get assistance. For the landlords, tell them, hey, you're in a COVID situation, and see if they can provide some assistance or delay it so that they're not trying to evict. Because ultimately, we don't want clients to be homeless. Right. But 211 is the other alternative. But continue to stay on our website. You know, there might be additional funding. If you go to Polk Cares 2020, it may be additional funding that may become available, but United Way is definitely a good partner.
And I should have brought that. United Way's been a great partner here. We brought them on early, the Central Florida Development. I mean, they've all worked hard to make this happen. And you know, we had to have good people around us too. We got great people here, but we brought other great people in too. And United Way, their program worked out real well, and brought in a lot of people, outside organizations, nonprofit organizations, try to help people, and it really worked out good. really did.
Excellent. Well, both of you, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for, I mean, this was the perfect slogan for this program, because in every day, in every way, you both and the other division heads are really working hard to make sure that people get what they need.
Well, that's the thing. Just, you know, this is something we've never seen before, and I hope we never see it again. But they can count on, you know, Polk County doing everything for our people here that live in Polk County to help them.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Although we're no longer accepting submissions to the programs discussed today, you can find the latest information on any new programs that develop, or check on your application status for the programs we mentioned by visiting www.polk-county.net. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Commissioner's Report.